Lights out and away we come!
Welcome to the Dirty Air Debrief, a Formula One podcast. My name is Devyani, and this is a show for shits and gigs by me, a Formula One fangirl, for all, as we follow our favorite rich, privileged men as they trot the globe and drive around in really fast circles. Hello and welcome back to the Dirty Air Debrief. My name is Devyani, and after the Australian Grand Prix, we have so much to debrief about. And here's how the show works if you haven't heard it before. Basically, I have a list of topics, things that have been on my mind, just lurking in there that I want to talk to you guys about, and I give myself random amounts of time to talk about each topic so that I do not ramble on and on and on into eternity. So let's get into it. Now, obviously, we have to start with the Australian Grand Prix because, you know, it was just... If I had to describe the Australian Grand Prix in a few words, I would say confusion, mayhem, bedlam, pandemonium, disarray, madness, havoc, commotion. Any synonyms for chaos, really, because that's the only thing I can use to holistically describe the Australian Grand Prix. And obviously there's so many storylines going into this. We had the Ferrari is not performing, Red Bull is performing too well. And listen, even qualifying was exciting. There was so much going on. I mean, drivers were doing multiple laps on the same tires in Formula One. What? Anyway, that was exciting. I really enjoyed seeing teammate battles. I mean, not really. They just crashed into each other, or one of them didn't finish the race, which is equally sad. And I just want to talk about George Russell for a second, who was, he was whining on the radio, and I get it. He was being attacked by his teammate, but it's lap 2, George. Like, you gotta put some distance between you two. And obviously there's a team strategy to be had there, but it was too soon. I mean, I need to understand George's thinking process. And I do understand that at that point, he's the team's best chance at a win. And his strategy made sense. They saw a safety car and they said pit. And the red flag screwed them. And that sucks. And then just to cap it all off, the flames coming out of the back. It just doesn't get any worse. I mean, okay, that's not true. It could definitely get worse. But it's a terrible day for him. And the fact that he was kind of not goofing off, but he wasn't goofing off, but he was having a good time during the red flags, just leaning and committing corporate espionage, or not really, but I mean, he's committing some kind of espionage the way he was staring at that RB19 in front of him. And then Daniel had to kind of pull him away from it and start talking to him. They did their bro hug thing. But George Russell was a good time to the red flags. He was hugging Toto, then it looked like he was choking Toto. It was a whole fever dream. In terms of who came out on top of the Australian Grand Prix, definitely Aston Martin, even though it was questionable for a minute there. Lewis Hamilton, obviously, great to see him back on the podium. 17 years in a row he has finished on a podium. Wow, that's so fun. The timer is on 100% volume, so that was a great wake-up call for us, guys. Okay, we're going to do some news updates. The way this works is that I've had somebody compile a bunch of these news headlines and I'll react. I'm assuming I'll know most of them, but I basically just had them type Formula One and different keywords into Google and copy paste what they thought was interesting, and then we can talk about it, of course. And this is a very long list. First piece of news. Okay, just based on how much news this has been since the race ended on Sunday, and none of this stuff is race related, okay? The second any kind of long-term break in F1 starts, whether it's this unintended break because of the Chinese Grand Prix that's not happening, or summer break, or winter break, it's like the teams immediately drop all the bad news, and so that it wouldn't interfere with their race weekend because they don't want questions about it in press. But the first thing is Rocket is suing Williams for $149 million, alleging that fraudulent statements were made when signing the sponsorship. Okay, so what this is about is basically when they signed their sponsorship in 2019, when they signed the sponsorship, they were promised that Williams would put out a competitive car in 2019. Obviously, that didn't really happen, but they were led to believe that it would, and I guess it was known that Williams wouldn't be able to do that just with their financials. That's just unfortunate. that's just, I mean, that partnership was never going to last long anyway. The CEO or whoever said that he feels that they've been wronged, um, knowingly wronged, so that's why they feel like they have a case. Bernie Ecclestone telling F1 Insider that he and Max Mosley knew about Crashgate in 2008 and had enough information to investigate and should have canceled the Singapore race. Okay, so this is two parts, right? The one part is that Max Mosley and Bernie Ecclestone knew about Crashgate way earlier than everyone else found out in 2009. They knew about it during the 2008 season, and they should have taken action at that point, right? To right the wrongs that have been committed because of Flavio Briatore and Pat Simmons and Nelson Piquet Jr. and Fernando Alonso, maybe not. But basically, they decided to protect the sport and save it from scandal, as if this isn't causing scandal. Now, I doubt that Bernie Ecclestone and Max Mosley are the most do the right thing kind of people. Well, Max Mosley isn't. I don't think he's alive anymore, so probably shouldn't speak ill of the dead, but I'm gonna go ahead anyway. They are not known for like doing the right thing. I wouldn't think so, considering. Anyway, so there's that. And the other part of the story is that Felipe Massa is considering or looking at legal action to overturn, cancel, nullify, change the result of the 2008 World Championship. Now, I do understand that he's looking for justice, and you can see how heartbreaking and gut-wrenching it was for Felipe Massa to lose the way he did in Brazil in 2008, and knowing that the people in charge of Formula One had this knowledge of this thing that had been done wrong, and if it had been righted the way it should have, then he would have been a world champion. But here's the thing, and you can go alternative history all you want with this, but at the end of the day, if at that point, right after Singapore or later on in the season before Brazil, Max Mosley and Bernie Ecclestone had canceled the race results, so like none of those points stood, none of that mattered, then we don't know what would have happened if the things had happened the way they did. And maybe there's a way to right that now. I don't think the answer is to take away Lewis Hamilton's world championship, because based on the information they had at the time, the teams and the drivers performed accordingly. Now, if they had known about the Renault Flavio Briatore crash fixing thing, then their strategies and other things might have happened in those races going forward, right? So, and I don't know what's the statute of limitations on these kinds of things, but I don't think it's wrong for him to try and look for illegal action. I just don't think it's going to change anything. And once you start doing that, you'll have a precedent for overturning other results. I saw on Twitter someone was talking about like the 1981 season and Carlos Reutemann, and we can go on and on about this, but this isn't really news, but Charles Leclerc pursuing the thieves that stole his watch. It's very Batman of him. You should definitely watch the video because he is using his blinkers and it looks like he's going the speed limit to chase these people. And Charles Leclerc has a custom Ferrari. It's a very recognizable car. It has like a Monaco flag on it, the Monegasque flag on it. And it's just surreal to see this, like a video of this, like the authorities released it, and there's been a lot of conversation about him being Batman, which considering, I mean, you know what, Charles Leclerc could be Batman. He's getting tortured by Ferrari enough to like really emote that Bruce Wayne climbing out of a dark hole vibe. I think it could definitely happen. Okay, next. McLaren CEO Zak Brown has challenged Mercedes boss Toto Wolff to a boxing match ahead of Formula One's Grand Prix in November. He also wants to organize a race with Red Bull boss Christian Horner, who he shared a grid with in British Formula 3 in the mid-1990s. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have like a when all those TikTok people were fighting each other? It feels like that, but Formula One. But I don't know if I'm wrong. Wouldn't Toto Wolff wipe the floor with Zak Brown in a boxing match? I don't know. I just feel like looking at, like, Toto's much taller, right? I don't know how tall they are, to be fair. He just looks like he would. I'm trying to imagine, like, Ocean's 11, a casino, it's fight night, Friday, and who's in the ring? Toto Wolff and Zach Brown. And I'm trying to imagine what their walkout songs would be. And I think Toto could have a cool one. It could be German, you know. I feel like Zach Brown's would be like Zach Brown would use like a Chris Brown song to walk out to. I don't know. That's just my vibe. He also wants to race Christian Horner before Silverstone. Interesting. So at this moment, it's unclear if Wolff and Horner are game for both of these things. So I don't know. I don't think this is going anywhere, unfortunately. Would I pay to watch Toto Wolff fight Zach Brown? It depends how much it was. If it was under $10, I probably would. That's the problem with having adult money. I spend it on stupid stuff, to be honest. Okay, next. Liberty Media and Dorma are looking at putting an F1 race and a MotoGP race together on a ticket. Oh, that would be so cool. Imagine if you got to watch F3, F2, MotoGP, and Formula One on the same weekend. That would be a ticket worth its money. That would just be cool overall because you'll have all the riders and the drivers, and I would pay good money for that. Not that I have much, but I would pay good money for it. Lando Norris Twitch stream almost got arrested. No, he didn't. Okay, he didn't get arrested. He like left his stream and then he went to a store, and then while he was in the store, he was trying to update the chat on what he was doing, basically why he'd abandoned them. And then I guess he almost didn't pay, and then that's where the joke came from, that he almost got arrested. And I think he accidentally leaked his address. I don't know, but he was basically like wreaking havoc in Monaco or wherever he is. Formula One drivers edited onto Barbie poster. What? I don't know what that means, to be honest. Okay, back to Lando. He did accidentally say something about Lewis being an 8-time world champion, and I know he's probably gonna get shat on pretty badly for that. And it's obviously a mistake. He looked really embarrassed. So I hope that's not the next Lando Gate, because that would be quite unfortunate for him. Sky Sports apologizes for radio snafu. That's a headline with the word snafu in it. Interesting. Oh, okay, this is about when he said, "I'm not losing to him," or when we thought he said, "I'm not losing to him," in reference to him being Fernando Alonso. And I think what he really said was, "Do you know where I'm losing to him?" So he was asking for times and corners. I prefer the "I'm not losing to him." It sounds better, and considering that he's second and Fernando's third, and Fernando was talking about how he was trying to pass Lewis so much, and he only had one lockup into turn 13 and 58 laps. Like, for the narrative, I prefer the "I'm not losing to him" radio, but we all know the truth, so that's good. Tell us your best Formula One joke. Ooh, why was Harry Potter surprised when Ferrari won the Formula One race? Because he expected a Patronus. But no one. Why did the Formula One driver get electrocuted after finishing the first lap? Because he completed the circuit. No? Still no? Why did the Formula One driver get addicted to amphetamines? He felt the need for speed. That was not very good. How much money have you spent on Formula One merch? A lot. Too much, probably. Well, that's kind of a lie, but I'm supposed to not be buying any Formula One merch since the end of February, basically. And I kind of succeeded, except I found, or someone on TikTok who I follow, pointed me to a Red Bull Sebastian Vettel hat, which I've been searching for and dreaming of for many eons now. And so I did get that, but it was very inexpensive, so I'm not counting it, but you know what? It's fine. From Daniel Ricciardo's collection twice, I bought from his Enchanté Chalet, and I bought from his FEA, which I still haven't gotten my sweater yet, and I got it with the original drop. So DR3, Rick 3 merch, you're in debt to me. I try to buy when there are sales, what ends up happening is I don't get the new kit. Like, I bought a bunch of stuff off the Williams website when they were having their end of season sale. Same thing with the F1 website. I wanted a helmet replica, but the big ones are way too big. Mine is tiny, and it's one of Zhou Guanyu's, and it was on sale. It was pretty cheap. So I've spent quite a good of money. Like, my my Sebastian Vettel Aston Martin hoodie was like $100. But I don't regret that because I probably wear it way too much. It's really comfy and I love the color. Adult money is a very finicky thing because I can spend it. And that's what it's for. You know, financial literacy would also be good. Invest your money. Don't spend it on merch. So I have this playlist called Bad Bitch for Life, which is my hype workout songs. And I was thinking, which of these embodies what Formula One drivers? Because that's all I think about, you know? And I have Back to Black by Amy Winehouse on there. And I definitely think Lewis Hamilton and the entire Mercedes team really embodies that song because when they went from the silver livery to the black livery and from the white racing suits to the black racing suits, it really leveled up. I mean, it looks better in photos, and the white racing suits and the silver livery, I know there's silver arrows, but still, it just pales in comparison. And so they're definitely back to black. I have Trinidad Girls by Nicki Minaj on there, and I feel like that is Esteban Ocon's song because he's talked about belly dancing, and I know that's not a traditional belly dancing song, but you know that beat, the chorus beat, you could definitely get down to it. What else do I have on there? Bad Girls. I think Charles Leclerc should be Bad Girls, not because he's one right now, but he should become one. I've been manifesting Charles Leclerc to enter his villain era for years now. And I mean, granted, he's hitting year 5 at Ferrari, and this is when things start to turn away from the Ferrari drivers, whether it's Seb in 2018-19 or even Fernando Alonso after a couple of years there. It happens to the best of them. So that's that. What else do I have on there? My neck, my back would definitely be Pierre. Just I feel like you don't have to explain that, I don't think, right? That's self-explanatory. I feel like Alex Albon is Hollaback Girl. That doesn't need any more explanation, I don't think. Pretty Girl Rock. My name is Carrie. I'm so very. Honestly, that could be Lando. I'm so very fly. Oh my, it's a little bit scary. Boys want to marry. Yeah, perfect. That's Lando Norris. Level Up. Fernando Alonso. We can give that to him because he has truly leveled up this season with his social media game, with his move to supposed midfield team Aston Martin, that's a front runner. He's leveled up on all fronts. So good. I mean, Fernando Alonso is my mortal enemy, as everyone needs one. Everyone needs an enemy who doesn't know who they are, right? That's just common sense. So he's mine, but I can't deny. Good Girls Gone Bad. That could be Oscar. I feel like Oscar could be Jenny from the Block, and maybe Fernando should have been Rude Boy because he's the villain. Dark Horse, probably Max Verstappen. Or Max Verstappen could also be Maneater. That's a good one. Wow. Okay, this is gonna. We need to stop before this gets out of hand. I feel like I said nothing. But anyway, thank you guys all for listening. If you want more from me, you can always find me at TikTok at formula_dev or on Twitter under the same name. You can find the pod on Instagram at the Dirty Air Debrief Pod. And if you have questions, comments, concerns, or you want to send me negative feedback, you can email me at f1deviani@gmail.com. I love hate mail. I'm kidding. I didn't say that. Okay. I'm going to end this now. Bye. Thanks for listening.